to be the Daily Wink. By the way, do me a favor. Last week I did a couple of these videos, and some of you really did me a big favor by sharing the videos and liking them and forwarding them on to others. Makes a big difference. So thank you for doing that. Hey, just a few moments ago, I recorded an interview with my friend Stacy Washington. Stacy on the Right.com is her website. She's extraordinary. She's got a new book out, and it's really cool. I'll be talking about that. I recorded an interview with her, and I also will be talking about that. So you want to check that out. She's a wonderful, wonderful leader in the conservative movement, and impressive as can be. All right. So, and what reminded me of that was when they attacked, her book is called, let me make sure I get it right. Her book is called Eternally Cancel Proof. Eternally Cancel Proof is the name of her book. And as a strong conservative woman, Stacy Washington has been canceled. The Post-Dispatch canceled her column and tried to embarrass her. She's had to deal with being a conservative woman, conservative African-American, all those kinds of things. She's very cool and very impressive. And here's why it made me think of this title for this wink today, What You Need to Know. You know, I started this out because of Ginny Thomas. So Ginny Thomas has been for probably 20 years, maybe more, I guess, but I've known for 20 years that she's a leader among conservative grassroots. She's very personable. She has kind of understands what the grassroots goes through. In fact, I know something that others may not realize. Ginny Thomas and her sister would come to our Eagle events, Phyllis Schlafly Eagle events, and we would have these great discussions. But Phyllis Schlafly used to be so proud to claim and to describe that it was Ginny Thomas's mother who was an Eagle out in Nebraska years ago working for conservative issues. So Ginny Thomas comes by her activism from her family and from her life. And yet she's attacked because she happens to be married to a guy who is a justice on the Supreme Court. And, you know, it doesn't happen in a vacuum that they attack someone like Ginny Thomas. They don't attack her on her credentials. They don't attack her on her background. They don't attack her on her history. They attack her because of her spouse, who her husband is. And, you know, it's absolutely laughable that they do this. And they do it during the confirmation of another justice, of a judge who's going to go probably be confirmed to the bench. And it's just outrageous. And there should be a hue and cry from here to forever about how bad this is. And here's the real reason, among others. There's many reasons, but the reason why is because the effect on someone like Ginny Thomas and her family doesn't matter if she's right. It just matters that they affect her, they impact her. It's just so unfair. You know, the left and the media target people. In a way, it's like the old line I remember forever. Ray Donovan, is that his name? Ray Donovan, Labor Secretary under Reagan. I think it was Raymond Donovan. I might be getting that wrong because there's a movie, a show that with that title. But after he was acquitted of being charged with all sorts of stuff, he said, "What office? Where's the office that I go to get my reputation back?" In other words, the impact of being accused of things, and the leaks of the texts of Ginny Thomas to someone in the Trump administration, where did that come from? Will there be an investigation of where the leaks came from? Because we know one group that had those texts is the Congressional Select Committee on January 6th. They went and got them. I think they went and got them because the recipient of Ginny Thomas, but they leaked them. Why? They leaked them to have the effect, to make people crazy, to damage Ginny and cause her to have to worry about things, and her husband and all the rest. And the media goes rushing into it and says, "Oh, now look, we have this and that and the other thing, and Justice Thomas should have to recuse and all that." It's so unfair. But what's breathtaking is that the left does this attack and never thinks to themselves, we've been advocating for women. We've been advocating for, it's like Phyllis Schlafly. We've been advocating that women have a bigger role. Here's a woman that has a big role. Ginny Thomas has a big role as an organizer, as someone that people recognize as a leader, grassroots leader. And now we're going to penalize her because we don't like her politics. It's not surprising for those of us that are in politics to see it, but it should be recognized by more of us and called out. And someone like Ginny Thomas should be supported. And someone like Stacey Washington, when she writes a book, and her book is Eternally Cancel Proof, when she writes about the fact that they try to cancel her, and you just know the targets. You got to see it. And I've said before, over and over again, the problem with targeting people like this and trying to cancel them and damage them is, one, it's unfair to them, and we should stand up for them. But two, it teaches a lesson for normal people that you should step back from the fray, that you shouldn't be in the fray because it's not worth the high cost. That's what they're really after. I tell you this, Ginny Thomas is tough. When Clarence Thomas was confirmed for the Supreme Court and he went through a living hell, a public living hell, a high-tech lynching, as he called it, Ginny Thomas was sitting right there. You can see in the recent Clarence Thomas documentary, they have footage of that time. And the late Phyllis Schlafly, my boss, organized women to go to the Capitol and stand in the hallways and clap for Clarence Thomas as he stood up for himself. Ginny Thomas was there. Ginny Thomas is tough, among other things. She's not going to be intimidated by any of this media or all the rest, but it's done for design, and it's done so that people that are a young Ginny Thomas or a young activist is going to say, I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm going to pull back a little bit, because the goal of the regime, and by regime I mean big government, big tech, and big media, the narrative machine. In fact, the narrative regime is what I should call it. The narrative regime is to get us to self-censor, to get us to pull back ourselves because it's not worth the cost. So you got to look at Stacey Washington's book. You got to look at Ginny Thomas's life. You got to realize that A, we should support these women, in this case, these conservatives, no matter whether they're women or men. And we have to redouble our efforts to not shy away. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. When I talked to Stacey Washington a few minutes ago, I was asking her about when she was canceled, and I was thinking to myself about times where you're targeted. They're going to use the narrative regime is going to use big government, big tech, and big media to try to damage us all, to damage people. We got to recognize that's coming. Anyway, so stand up for Ginny Thomas. She's tough. She doesn't need us, but she welcomes the support, I'm sure. And get Stacey Washington's book and keep fighting. So thanks for tuning in. By the way, do me a favor, like this, share this, pass it on. I appreciate it very much, getting the word out. There's a lot happening. Visit proamericareport.com, proamericareport.com. You can listen to my interview with Stacey Washington there. And I'll talk to you again very soon. See you.